everyone. I am Jessica Koch, and this is another Profound Professionals. We have had the joy at Profound Professionals for almost 5 years now to be interviewing a beautiful, amazing, brilliant industry experts from all over the world. I should say beautiful and handsome because we have men and women from all over the world. And today our guest is, I'm so excited to share, our guest is Sparkle Lindsay. I mean, what a name. My favorite name of all time, Sparkle Lindsay. She is a motivational keynote speaker, author, international recovery coach, professional facilitator for positive transformation. Because, as we grow and develop, transforming our lives into that beautiful thing that we want so badly, and that we were here, and our purpose of why we're on this planet to shine our light is it. And why wouldn't you want a coach that's named Sparkle to take you on this transformation? So welcome, Sparkle.
Hey, Jess, how's it going?
I am so good. I'm so glad you're here. Tell me about how your journey that took you to, you didn't just wake out and roll out of bed of the motivational speaker of the world and popping out books in kindergarten, right? So what was the journey here?
Man, well, the written journey, I have to say, I am 3 years, 9 months sober from alcohol and addiction. So definitely excited to be hitting the fourth year in May. And that is a huge, huge portion of my journey. I started out with as an executive for 14 years, HR executive for 3 big box companies. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And in that time, I was fixing everybody but myself.
Mm-hmm.
And there came a point where 125K promotion was brought up, and I turned it down. And I turned it down because
Wow, sir. Okay, all right. You turned it down. There's a big old because behind this one.
So all along, this was great. I had many, many accolades, lots of great things happening. But inside, I was dying. I was dying inside slowly. It felt like I was in a room full of people screaming as loud as I could, and no one was listening. And I knew that if I took that promotion, no matter how many accolades, I wasn't going to make it. I was not going to make it out alive. I had at that point been drinking around the clock, drinking after work, drinking before work, having things set up. So as soon as I would get out of work, I'd be able to drink, and just staying up late and doing that, So there was just this piece of me before the 125K promotion. I also had an employee that killed himself in front of me. And I kept thinking,
yikes.
This, I'm strong, I'm okay, I'll get through this. And at this point, I really didn't understand what therapy meant. I just thought, hey, we all deal with it. These are things that go on, but it started going crazy with nightmares. I was spiraling. I didn't know who I was, and I was losing it. I walk in, they call me in the office, and I'm like, they about to fire me. And then they said, we like to promote you with 125K. And I'm thinking in my head, I can't keep going this way. I just can't.
Yeah.
So I went on the journey. I said, I'm out. I said, you don't got to hold my position. Here we go. And I got in the car. I called my aunt and I said, I'm ready to do this. I need help. I need support, and I need it now. So 3 months went in. I hadn't cried for 13 years, Jess. I hadn't cried for 13 years. And I had not realized how much I had been neglecting myself, with this strong woman syndrome that we call us feeling like we have to take care of everybody. But honestly, it's us thinking that, not many others, So I had to go refine myself, and I'm still finding myself every day and falling in love with myself more and more every day.
Well, you are lovable.
With all that, I went through treatment, and I got into a sober living. If I want to go back to my fiance, my ex-fiance now, and I didn't know what I was doing. I got in that house, and I felt so lonely.
Mm.
Said, you know what? I'm 35, right? And I feel lonely. So what happens to those that are 20 and 22 and they get out of treatment and then they're just left here? There's nothing left, right? No aftercare. And I said, right,
Mhm.
there's got to be something else. So I went to Chris Burns from Peaks Recovery Center, which is where I went to treatment. He said, you got to get a hold of Kathy Plush, who was Springs Recovery Connection founder at that time. And I fell upon Peer Recovery Coach Academy courses where I could be a recovery coach. And so now, 2.5 years later, I got the certifications, but I could, you know me, I couldn't take it but a little bit further and say, I got to facilitate these courses. Okay. So, giving people that raw experience and that raw joy. But I also felt compelled to write. I started feeling compelled to speak. And my breakthrough, my spiritual awakenings were just happening. And they're still
Mhm.
happening. And it's like I had to find that place to surrender, realize that I wasn't held captive to any money. I just needed to find myself. And
Mhm.
it has taken forever to figure out who I am. And I love learning each day what this looks like. And also being able to really jump in God's lap and let him take me where I got to go. So at
Mhm.
this point, that's where I'm at, where I came up with Sparkle LLC. I began speaking about 3 years ago. I've been a coach for 3 years, but now I'm in the facilitating world and I'm helping coaches become great coaches one step at a time through positive transformation.
I love that. And it's such a beautiful story. And I have the time that we've had together since we've
Yes.
known each other, I have seen you bloom just in that space,
Yes.
so I've really enjoyed that. So what is it like for a customer to work with you? What's their experience? So are you working to help people transform? Are you really focused now on working with coaches to learn how to help individuals transform? Where's your
So working with me, I mean, Jess, you worked with me. I'm the bomb diggity girl.
That's right.
No, working with me is a very, very raw and uncut experience. And with coaches, see, my inspiration from this is that being a coach, I was put in some very sticky situations with people battling addiction, people
Mhm,
battling transformation, OCD,
mhm,
whatever addiction looks like, and not knowing where they fit in their puzzle. And so while people were hiring these coaches, hiring people like me, there was nothing to inform coaches on what's truly going on out there in the real world.
mhm,
We have things like the epidemic, the pandemic,
mhm,
inflation, revamping of systems. All these things are happening, and it's easy to get lost in the shuffle.
mhm,
So, working with those people to help them find the legs to their table is key. Do they
mhm.
have supports? Do they have a team that is supporting them out there while they sit in people's beautiful disasters? So, a lot of one on one working with them, a lot of hands on where they get to watch me in action as well, just so that they can see what it is to be equipped to be out there in what we call a little bit of chaos right now, you know?
So is this mostly in person, or is it virtual, or is it a hybrid? Is it group? Is it all one-on-one? I'm just trying to give the audience a feel for if they were to reach out to you, what would that be like?
So it is hybrid. I do
Okay.
a lot of virtual, and then I also do a lot of in person as well.
Mhm,
Most of the time, even phone. Uh,
mhm,
when people are talking about taking their lives back, or when people are working with people who want to take their life back, you may get a phone call at any time. So
mhm,
I leave it all open. A lot of people like to communicate through writing.
mhm,
So I leave that open as well. But for the most part, it's more hybrid, and a lot of people really like the virtual as well.
mhm. Yeah. Well, it makes it so that you can work with people all over the world,
Yes,
so really does open up your and that's part of why I asked this question. So the people listening know who can we send your direction, right?
yes, yes.
So before, can you also share something someone could do today that would help make their life better?
Well, one thing that you can do today is actually write down 3 things you've done for the day at the end
Mm,
of your night. Okay, when you write them down, Read them to yourself before you go to bed. Now, the next morning, wake up and read them to yourself so you just realize just how much stuff you've actually gotten done. It's
Mm-hmm.
almost like a follow-up for yourself so that you can truly realize like, dang, I was busy. I was getting it
Yeah.
versus I just go to sleep on all this other stuff that I may be thinking of working on. But what about the stuff we did get done? How does that
Mhm.
look? So that's what I would say do.
I love that. I love and I was just thinking if I was going to write it down, one of the things I did was I stood out on my front porch in the superhero
Yes.
pose this morning with my face to the sun. I love that pose because man, I feel powerful when I'm done. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm taking it down. I'm going to get everything done.
Every piece, the vitamin D, just give it to me, right? Consume it.
Yes, yes. I love feeling that warm sunshine on my face, and you stand a little bit with your feet apart, and just that.
Yes.
Imagine the cape flowing from you. You are
Yes.
a superhero.
What's crazy about it is that this actually brought tears to my eyes when I did have done this exercise every morning, because when I first started out, my three things I wrote down when I was going through addiction was waking up, making my bed, and getting dressed. That's all I could do. And it
Mhm.
was a lot. And this morning when I woke up, I said, I got 5 clients. What kind of coffee do I want? What phone calls am I going to be on? And it's like, it just stopped me in my tracks every
Yeah,
so often. And it says, man, you're
yeah.
doing all right. You are doing okay. And I think sometimes we have to bring ourselves back down to that realization that success is key and that we got to celebrate the small wins and the big ones as well, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, before we move on to some of my other questions, is there anything else about yourself personally or your company that you'd like to share that we haven't touched on?
Not really. The big piece
Okay.
was the my book, which actually was the tips and tricks. But I know we'll get more into that as we
Yeah, we're
go.
headed to books in a
Yeah.
second. So then the next piece is let's talk about your charity. So one of the reasons Profound Professionals was founded, and when we originally started with the concept of a podcast was,
Mhm.
to edify people, to give them a space to feature themselves and really talk about what they do so that the world could hear it. And
Yeah.
then also to feature a cause they care about because cause just awareness, just spreading awareness about what's available in the world is so powerful. You just never know who might share this with someone else and who might hear it today that really needs it. And they needed to know about the cause or they needed to hear your tip or information that you've shared. So tell us about your cause, Sparkle.
So my cause is funding a trainee. It's my
Mhm.
program for those that are trying to go through the Peer Recovery Coach Academy courses. So just as you can see, there are many people right now who are battling this epidemic. Okay,
Mhm.
opiate crisis, everything. So as I'm training coaches, we need more coaches. And these more coaches that are willing to not only work on themselves, but walk alongside others, um, they need some help sometimes with the
Mhm.
funding. And
That's right.
so I've been bringing them in, and they've been, some of them been making their payments and they've been doing that. And so I always hope that people ask, well, how can I help with the cause of addiction or the cause of transformation? And I
Mhm.
say, well, there's people who want to be that voice of the voiceless. They want to coach, but they
Mhm.
need a little bit of support jumping out there, getting the education and the courses so they can become state certified in their areas across the
Mhm.
nation. And a lot of it is being able to provide them with maybe half of a scholarship or so, and have some people who donate to that. So there's not enough of us out there. And for me, I look at it like warriors uniting and being
Mhm.
able to have little people walking alongside people everywhere to help them become better versions of themselves.
I love that. And if you want to find out how you can give and support a coach in their education so that they can go through the process and get certified to help others, reach out to Sparkle and she will let you know how. Websites on the screen below. So now we are moving to books. I love books. I am building the ultimate book list. I want all my guests to give me a book that inspired their life or helped their business grow.
Yeah.
And And so we're going to start with that. So what book inspired your life or helped your business grow?
Oh, The Body Keeps the Score. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This book helps you understand your body, your mind, your subconscious from the inside out. It helps you really break things down. When we talk about doing the work, I mean, I was reading through it every page and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I'm doing. Oh my goodness, we can make ourselves sick. You got to be kidding me, right? And I started thinking about all these things I was battling, my autoimmune conditions and how stress is a huge factor of this and how
Yeah,
the body will tell you, but if we're not listening, we get sick.
that's
We can't control it when we let it out of control. So being able to know what I'm in control of and reading that was like, okay, when I become a coach, I want people to keep the score and be mindful and aware of what their body is truly telling them. Not what people are telling them, but what their body, their mind, their spirit is actually saying is going on so they can pinpoint what it is, walk through it, and fix it.
I love that. Say the name of the book one more time.
The Body Keeps the Score.
The Body Keeps the Score. Now, you're also an author. Tell us about your book.
Yeah. So my inspiration for my book, Being a Better Me for Me, it's a pocket guide and it goes with a workbook.
I love it.
um, my inspiration from it was at first I was just coaching and I was giving all these tips and tricks. And finally I was like, everybody keeps calling me about these same tips and tricks. I said, I'm going to make a pamphlet and I'm
Mhm.
gonna go on ahead and send it to everyone. Well, I get to typing, and I'm like, wow, this is a mini pocket guide. This is a mini book, simple but deep. And so I also found the motivation from my motivational quotes that go out every day. Um,
Yes,
there's
they
14,
do.
there's 1,400 of them now.
Wow.
But those motivational quotes also, I added it all together, asked some simple tips and tricks, and it's a self-reflective pocket guide that can actually help you at any time or any level of self-reflection you may be going through. And
I
so
love
even me, I grabbed my own book at one point. I think it was 3 months ago when I was going through quite a bit, and I'm like, wow, I seen this like this 2 years ago, but now I see it differently, So it helps you as the teacher continues to arise. You're ready to actually
Mhm.
listen and continue to listen about who you are.
Well, and we grow. So some of the same words and the same original inspiration has a whole new meaning or color to us as we grow and change. So that happens with me with the Bible all the time. I'm reading something, I've read it 100 times, but I read it one day and then I'm like, wow, wait, this means
What?
something way different than it used to mean to
What was
me.
I thinking there? This is wild, right?
I always say I'm totally faithful and I totally believe, but I get surprised all the time when I see
All the
miracles happen.
Yes,
I'm still surprised, even though I know they happen all the time. I'm still surprised.
and then you kind of reevaluate and you go, man, I think I'm growing, right?
That's
You're like,
right.
I think I'm
Yeah,
growing a little bit.
there have truly been some times where I've seen my growth, where I've known, oh, I took a leap there, oh, I took a jump there.
Mhm.
So that's exciting too. And a long way to go. I feel like I hope we keep growing until we're not here anymore. And then I think maybe we still keep growing too in some
Yes,
way. I just don't know how.
exactly.
Well, if you are watching and you are a profound professional and you would like to be featured on our podcast here and our video interview series, please reach out to us and let us know, and we will see about having you on the show. And if you want to be a hero, my hero, and someone else's, introduce us to someone that that would be perfect for our show. Now, before we say goodbye, I always ask our guests to share one last piece of information or inspiration. So, what do you have for us, Sparkle?
Well, I want to let people know that out here we have a lot of stigma going on, a lot of
Mhm.
stigmas and labels. All right. So, to kind of stop that or to help with that, remember this quote, okay? Be careful what you say to yourself you are listening.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times, you guys, with stigma, when we start saying it, we start to believe it. And then when
Mm-hmm.
we tell others what we are believing, they start to believe it too. So if you're talking to yourself in positive words and you're talking about what you intend to be and what you're entitled to, others will talk about you that way and others that way too. So remember, the way we speak to ourselves is so important on a regular basis. And it also helps us find out who we are from the inside out. And we learn to love ourselves more and more every day.
I love that. And that's powerful too because of the subconscious mind, because
Yeah.
your subconscious mind will not argue with you. It's if you say XYZ, then it says okay.
Yep.
And if you say this something else, then it says okay.
Okay.
It just doesn't argue with you. So
Got to
and it
stay
goes
present, right?
that's right. And it goes to work to doing and making come true whatever it is you've said to yourself. So
Yeah.
I love the cancel clear when you catch yourself saying something that isn't, or having
Mhm.
one of those thoughts of, oh, he's late, what, it's raining, I hope there's no car accident or whatever.
Right.
Cancel clear, no thank you, I don't need
Yes.
that, I'm sure
Good.
he's fine, he'll be here soon, everything's good. Like, I have to like do the dance and change myself
Yes.
around, so that you can catch yourself and pull
Put
yourself
yourself.
back,
And
because you are
and
right.
staying present is all about being mindful of what we say to ourselves so that we can start to act and rewire our brains to do that. That's where the
Absolutely.
subconscious can pull us from it. So that practice takes a lot, but it
Mhm.
starts with just saying simple things to yourself that you start to believe you have hope for and optimism. And before you know it, you'll be rocking and rolling, you
That's
know?
right. That's right. All right, everyone. As always, I am just honored to be your host, Jessica Koch of Profound Professionals. And until next time, as always, be kind to yourselves and be kind to each other. Bye, everybody.